I think it is about time we finally discussed the Warhammer 40k episode of Prime Video's Secret Level. And in my opinion, it's the right type of content to quite literally inspire the next generation of wargamers and fans. It has just the right level of building interest and excitement, and it sets the stage for hopefully some more fantastic 40k adaptations. The episode itself was next level. It made me insanely excited for Henry Cavill's adaptation, and reflecting on this year alone, it has been a great year for 40k in general. After we eventually got our hands on Space Marine 2, we have then been blessed with Secret Level. And by the end of this episode, you didn't need to tell me twice that Warhammer needed to be in the cinema on the big screen, yesterday. The focal point of this episode is the infamous Lieutenant Titus from Space Marine 2. And sitting at around only 15 minutes of runtime, we were never going to get that Oprah Winfrey deep dive into his character, but I'm not too mad about it. And whilst referencing Space Marine 2, I'm also glad they didn't do a copy and paste job. There was definitely familial nods to the familiarities in the Astartes, which for me was a good thing. Another perfect nod to the lore was the episode's title, And They Shall Know No Fear. And in a way, the more I thought about it, the more it replicates the approach that Star Wars The Force Awakens took, whereby it retraces familiar paths to ensure that fans are on board. And it's a smart move, especially given how much is riding on this project. The Astartes made waves, particularly with Space Marine 2, and it grabbed a ton of attention, which is brilliant for the franchise. So it's no surprise that for such a high-profile project, they'd want to stick with a formula that they know works. Visually, it was incredible. Being able to get the message across that these Space Marines, they're part of the Imperium and they fight with skill, even when facing terrifying enemies, and being able to do that in such a short space of time is truly impressive to me. I've said it so many times before in previous videos, but pulling off a Space Marine POV is no easy feat. But they managed to really capture what it's like for Space Marines to battle in a way I don't think has been done before. You usually see them taking on enemies and it looks cool. But I feel like Secret Level, they took it a step further. The Space Marines here, they move with the speed and precision that matches the lore. It takes you back to novels like, for example, Spear of the Emperor, where they dispatch foes literally in the blink of an eye, and it really nails the feeling of how a Space Marine should operate in combat. I also like that they depicted them exactly as they needed to. The walking tanks they're meant to be. You weren't hit with these irritating slow-mos, you just got to watch them outmaneuver their opponents in real time, and I'm all for it. What's exciting about this episode is that for me, I think it could really help shape Cavill's project. The Warhammer universe, as we all know, whether you're familiar with it or not, it's massive. There are so many ways to approach this, and Secret Level, for me, it showcased what makes a good Warhammer adaptation. So now it's almost just that Henry Cavill, he needs to build on that. And even though it can be overwhelming, particularly for new people, and at times, I suppose it can feel like Game of Thrones in space, but 10 times more intense and more complex. There is so much to love about it. Warhammer sets the standard for futuristic military strategy and epic space battles like no other. The universe, it's alive with such diverse factions. You've got orcs, you've got space wolves, and you have my all-time favourite space vampires, the Blood Angels. It's truly a treasure trove of lore and world building, and to be able to capture a glimpse of that in 15 minutes is mind-blowing to me. We've seen some great game adaptations this year. We've got Arcane and Fallout, just to name a few. And for me, Warhammer already offers so much more than these. It's so exciting to think about where this could potentially lead. This episode, it highlights exactly what can happen when you do the source material justice, at least on a smaller scale. And the real value here is that it's bringing new eyes and new attention to the franchise. For anybody that's new to Warhammer, particularly Secret Level, they'll get to see some awesome battles in the grim, dark future, and it's likely to spark their curiosity, hopefully, about the lore and what else is out there. And let's be honest, there's only one way for them to find out. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.